during this season.
During this season, that leads to fires.
That leads to fires,
because
right.
the harmattan has taken out the moisture. So you may see a green leaf, there is dry, because there is no moisture. So when you introduce fire to it, it will burn.
It sets ablaze.
Exactly.
Right. So you mentioned that harmattan is a season.
It's a season.
And so it's not really
you know we also record
factor.
a lot of fires during the rainy season.
You don't say.
Yes, I'm telling you. We record a lot of fires during the rainy season. So all what it boils down to is being careful with how you handle fires during this particular season.
Right. So as an institution that is helping to fight fire outbreaks here and there, what precautions or what measures are taken in place when it gets to the harmattan season? Because it's something seasonal, like you said. It's not really a contributing factor. But then again, it helps spreading fire.
Yes, so you can say it is a contributing factor because of the dryness.
The dryness, yes.
But everything boils down to you, the individual.
Right.
That is all that I'm saying. Everything boils down to you, the individual. You make sure during this time, even if you are using naked fires, you should not leave them unattended to. You make sure you stay by it, because it is associated with what? Wind. As the winds blow, it can fall and then get into contact with any flammable substance. And that is enough to set your entire edifice or whatever you're doing, your farm, your other places, ablaze.
Right.
Okay. Now let's move into a market space, because the records coming in lately has to do with the market space and all that. What are some of the safety precautions or the safety measures we can put in place to curb the fire outbreaks in our market?
So what I would say is, when you look at our markets, most of our markets are not built markets. They are formed.
Okay.
You see, so we have makeshift structures like wooden structures, containers, and other things. When you go to a place like Katamanto, because they are formed, maybe my mother started, your auntie joined, you joined them. By the time we realize, we say, well, it is a market. And then all we have there are what? Wooden structures.
Yes.
When a market is built, there are certain measures that are put in place. But when a market is formed, all those measures are thrown into the garbage. Let's look at a properly constructed market. Things like gangways, alleys, exits are inculcated into the construction of those buildings. So even if there's an emergency, our vehicle can move straight into it. Most people do not know. We don't fight the flames. The flame, you see, we are not supposed to be fighting the flames. We are supposed to be fighting the base of the fire or the seat of the fire. What is the base of the fire or the seat of the fire? That is in between where the flame is coming from and then the object that is burning. That is where we are supposed to aim at. In between the object that is on fire and where the flame is coming from. So that is where we call what? The seat or base of fire. And that is where we are supposed to be aiming at. But most of these markets, because all these things are not inculcated into the construction, we normally fight the fires from behind by pouring water on the flames. You know, when you go to such formed markets, proper segregation is not done. But when you go to built markets, we have proper segregation done. This place is meant for people who sell clothes. This is where they cook food. This is where they do this. And in the construction itself, early detection and warning systems are inculcated into the construction. So early detection, and then probably what? The suppression system. So even if we are not there, because all those things are there, the automatic detectors will detect the smoke, and then the suppression system will douse it. Let's look at another thing. Because it is properly constructed, ECG, when supplying electricity to the particular markets, would have been done right. But because they are makeshift structures, people are tapping and tapping and tapping and doing all forms of illegal activities. And remember, electricity produces what? Heat. The activities of the people within the market is also another contributing factor. That was why I talked about proper segregation. Because if they sell clothes here, we know the measures we are going to put in place. If they sell food here, we know the measures we are going to put in place. But this is where you go to the market, somebody is selling cloth here, somebody is selling food here, somebody is selling... Yes. So all these things poses as danger to our markets. And then we can also talk of activities that goes on during the night at the market. There are people who sleep there.
Yeah.
They use mosquito coils and other things. Some of them do not have, so they use candles and other things. Some of them even sell alcohol. It's a pub during the evening. It is a different thing altogether. So these activities are human activities. And if proper care is not taken, almost all the time their activities will lead to fires.
Okay. So now, even in Kantamanto markets, let's use that as a case study now, because that was where we had the outbreak currently.
Yes.
So from the Ghana National Fire Service, moving in there, trying to curb the whole situation, what was the actual cause of the outbreak?
You see, if I may say, investigations are ongoing. It becomes sometimes very difficult for us to be able to ascertain what exactly was the cause of fire. Because the fire happened, was it on Monday? And then Tuesday, those people have started construction.
Yes.
We have a forensic lab. If that area is called in, what we are going to do is we are going to get to what exactly caused it. Because there are things we would have to pick from site, send them to the lab, and then we'll be able to unravel what exactly caused the fire. But all these things are temporary. Even when the fire is ongoing, there are people there who are trying to salvage their wares.
Yes.
And this hampers early ascertain of causes of fires. But as I speak to you, our investigations are still on it. But mostly people will say, sorry, people will say they don't normally hear of the findings of our investigations. The truth of the issue is the law doesn't mandate the fire service that if your house goes up in flames and then you request for an investigation, I come out and make it public. No. When the investigations, you demanded it, you paid for it. In fact, you have to write and then you pay something before the investigations are done. And when the investigations are done and concluded, it is sealed and given back to you. If you choose to make it public, that is your problem. So normally when we do the investigations, like when it comes to the market, it is the MMDC, like the District Metropolitan Assembly, they own the markets. So when the investigations are done, we hand over to the assemblies. Then if they recommendations and everything are done. But normally what we do is after some of these investigations, the things we pick out, as I sit here, I may have said a lot of things that was as a result of an investigation that we did somewhere.
Yes.
So when I'm educating somebody, I can tell you that A, B, C, D can even lead to fires. Yes.
Okay.
Right. So as an institution, all that you can do is to put the word out there, educate the public, because like you said, safety is a shared responsibility.
Yes.
So let's drive back to our individual homes. We've experienced or heard about domestic fires here and there. At the very start of it, at the very spark, what are some of the things that we can do to care before it gets high to the state that we need the fire service coming in? I saw a woman trying to, put a stop to it by she made a foamy solution, so water with soap and then with towel, and she tried to put the fire off, and then we have our extinguishers here and there. What are some of the safety precautions we can take during that moment in our individual homes? So
in our individual homes, sometimes we are challenged a little. LI 1724 was silent on domestic houses. That is why we had 2249. LI 2249 2016, that is to support, to augment what, and we call it what, home fire safety. Right. Home fire safety is such that every household should have what we call an early detection system, typically like the smoke detector you have up here.
Right.
And then a firefighting means, which is basically the fire extinguisher. Yes, so if you have an extinguisher in your house, it is not enough. You must be trained on how to use this fire extinguisher. If you are not trained on how to use this fire extinguisher, the extinguisher becomes what? A white elephant.
And I'm sure you have them on your socials as well.
Yes, we have most of them on our socials. Yes. On the Fire Service TV, if you go to our home today, tune in. If you get it with my dark face, you see me even demonstrating how it is used.
Right.
Yes, but the acronym is PASS. But let's look at what normally causes these fires within our domestic houses. We are looking at two places, the kitchen and then the main house itself. The main house, we are looking at electricity. The main house, we are looking at electricity. Like you women, you pack a lot of unnecessary clothes.
Unnecessary.
Yes.
Officer, they are very necessary.
Are they?
Yes, they
Because
are.
until my wife's demise last 2023, she had a lot, but almost all the time she would tell you when you are going out, I mean, I don't have anything, I need to go sew something, and I'm like, come on, so what is all this? Then why don't you go and throw it away?
It has its seasons, so you should definitely visit them, but then sometimes you want
So
to
you
have
are
a new
always sewing
feel.
new stuff, whereas men, we keep just
Few things. True.
My wardrobe is a 3-type set wardrobe. My wife took all 3, and when you go up there, her things
still
and
has
baggages
stuff
and
in there.
other things were still filled, and I don't know. So, in fact, we must move away from some of those things. But if we want to look at the things that normally causes the fires, like I mentioned, electricity within the main household, we are looking at how to use electricity, how to handle electricity in the house. Our fridges, our air conditions,
Gas
our
cylinders.
irons, and then our freezers. They have what we call thermostat.
Okay.
So when it works for a period of time, what happens is you hear a sound, ka, and then it takes a breather because it cuts. When it takes a breather, but something like fan, something like television, something like those electrical gadgets that we use, they do not have thermostat. So you don't have to put on your fan for the next 5, 6, 7. There are houses, as I speak to, everybody has left, but their fans are on.
Yes.
There are houses that have their lights almost all the time on because it was not properly, I won't say constructed, designed. So there are places, if you don't put on lights, the whole place looks dark. So their lights are almost all the time on. Remember, electricity comes with what? Heat. So there's a heat buildup. If proper care is not taken, all these things can lead to fires as they continue to heat up. And some of you have fridges. You said, hey, as my fridge is so strong, so when you put water in the fridge side, by the time you realize the whole water is now kicked, or what do we say, is iced.
Ice block.
Yes. That is to inform you that your, how do you call it? Your thermostat is not working properly.
Oh, wow.
Yes, so you are
We
going
were
to
thinking
consume.
that it's actually working well.
No,
then,
it is not working well at all.
Oh, that really enlightened us this morning.
It is not
quite
working
interesting.
well.
Wow.
So go closer. Anytime you go home, go closer to your air conditions, your freezers, your fridge. If you hear and you don't hear it means the thermostat is not working. And so everything, by the time you realize every place, everything is iced. No, please. Your fridge
Okay.
is more functional.
You would think that is the best, you know.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's what because we all enjoy drinking very cold water. We
Yes.
always wanted very freezed.
Yeah. Interesting. Now let's talk about coordination in here. So how is
No,
it?
I think I would like to go to the market, to the kitchen.
The kitchen
And then
aspect.
Right,
Okay.
that's fine.
Yeah, before we wrap.
Most of us, because of the issues of theft, we keep our gas cylinders within the kitchen. I think your gas cylinder is better to be outside. It is better for your gas cylinder to be stolen than
For it to
be in the kitchen, because the biggest thief is not the armed robber or whoever will come. They can take a handful if only you compromise.
if only you compromise.
Yes, most people are killed because they
try to
they
challenge
try
them.
to fight, challenge them and all that. And then if you are not fortunate and the person knows you, he won't spare you.
Yes.
That is why we pray to God all the time that
Yeah.
because
Someone
assuming an armed robber comes into my house, he doesn't know it is Okai's house. He comes into my house and then he's a friend of mine. Oh, is that so? Then definitely they will kill you.
He knows you rat him out.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Exactly. So what we are supposed to do is the biggest thief is the cylinder in the kitchen. When a cubic of the centimeter is discharged in an enclosed area, it multiplies itself, and that is enough to set your entire edifice ablaze.
Ablaze.
Wow. Quite an interesting
Very
thing coming in.
interesting.
Because the gas is denser than oxygen. When there's a leakage, it settles at the base. That is why when it comes into contact with fire, it burns everything on the surface of the floor. Remember, things like cobwebs, they aid in fire burning. So you need proper cleanup. Poor housekeeping can lead to a lot of damages in your house. So let's check some of these things.
Okay. All right.
the
Now
safe.
let's talk about the GNFS. I'm talking about the new strategies you're bringing. You said there's a 7-year strategic plan you
Yes.
launched recently and all that. What are some of the things in there that Ghanaians should be able to grasp? Yeah.
Oh, okay. The 7-year strategic plan. This is to, in fact, it is to let the fire service know how, in the next 7 years, we are going to strategize to meet the general public on how to curb the unwanted fires within our society. Yes. So we are now outlining duties for every rank. So we are going to the ranks, we are going to have them and their responsibilities. There are so many things that is, in fact, is going to happen within these 7 years. I can even tell you that some of the measures we are doing now are even part of the 7-year plans that we're looking at how to reach out to the ordinary Ghanaian. And yet all those things are inculcated into the 7 years strategic plan. Yes.
Right. Recommendations, the way forward. Don't you think that it should be mandatory that every home should have a fire extinguisher?
It is
and
the law.
cars as well.
Yeah, it is a law.
So why is it not happening? Because
that
I
is the law.
experience cars being on fire all the time, and then they are now begging people to give them extinguishers to quench their fire and everything.
That is the challenge we are faced with. You see, we are Africans, we are blacks. Sometimes people can afford to use millions of Ghana cedis, sometimes dollars, to even buy a car,
Yes.
but can't afford to spend maybe 100 or 200 cedis to protect the same car. But when you speak to them, they let you know that as for the extinguishers, they are too expensive.
Oh, than the car.
Than the
Are they
car.
trying to save that?
Well, these are some of the challenges. People have built homes, they can't buy extinguishers. When you come to my house, I have extinguishers. I have more extinguishers. And sometimes when it happens in people's houses, they run to you. Sometimes when you are driving to the office, because I always have spare. Pull you over because they see you are a fire personnel. Even sometimes when you see the places, the vehicles burning, you just pull over and you go in there to help salvage the situation. And then they promise you, I'm going to get one. The next day, it happens again. They still don't have it.
So in the future, don't you think that the Ghana National Fire Service should liaise with the Ghana Police Service to make sure that every car, whether it's commercial or private, it has an extinguisher? I think because
it is already there.
So why is it not?
You see, if you are not caught, it doesn't mean
it's not working.
The laws are not there. Make sure you don't break the 11th rule. That is that you should not be caught. That shall not get caught. But when you get caught, that means you've broken the 11th rule. You can go scot-free. But it's already there. That collaboration between the fire service and the police is there. That is why when we are having challenges at fire scenes, we even call the police to step in. You understand? That is why we even call the police to step in. So they are also our stakeholder. So that collaboration is there.
Is there.
But you see, as an institution, what we are doing is we are using the platform, just like yours, to educate the people, to tell them that, look, that fire extinguisher can save a life. So get a fire extinguisher. It saves a life. If you've been able to build a house, why can't you afford a fire extinguisher? Lately, well, people may say it's, but there are still quite cheaper ones there you can get.
Is it expensive like they are claiming?
It depends on the type you're using. But extinguishers out there, well, for now, we'll say some are very expensive. Yes, we have standards. If you go to the British standard, some of them 1,000 plus and other things. But we have other ones that are equally good on the market, which can cost you like 3. It depends on the size you are also going for. If it is your household, you can go for 3 kg and then maybe 6 kg. The 3 kg will cost you around 3, 4, 5 per that size. You understand? The car one is also there. That is the 2 kg and the 1 kg. That is less than 200. The maximum it should be around 200 Ghana cedis.
Yes.
You understand? So these are there. I mean, if you value your life, you don't have to compromise on some of these things. The fire service, we don't share fire extinguishers. So what I have in my house, I bought them.
Right.
So you can also buy them for your respective houses.
It's your responsibility.
It is your responsibility to buy them. Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Interesting. So wrapping up, we want to find out from you, what will be your closing words to our viewers and public watching us this morning?
Yes, we want to tell the general public that the Ghana Fire Service, we do not cause fires in your houses. We only come in to rewrite what you did wrong.
Yes.
When you look at causes of fires, I think I have mentioned it.
Yes.
4 out of 5 is a human factor.
Yes.
So the fires were either caused by your carelessness, your ignorance act, your accident, or your deliberate act, that is arson, by your deliberate act. So we'll plead with the general public that if they don't understand anything, our offices are closer to you. Walk in there, and we have friendly officers who are going to take you through some of the do's and don'ts, as well as how to use the fire extinguishers. It is an acronym. It is PASS, P-A-S-S. You pull the safety pin, you aim at the seat or base of fire, you squeeze the levers, and then you sweep side by side, and then you are good to go.
Yeah, good to go.
Okay.
So our offices are always
Very,
open
very
to the
open.
general public. They can walk in at any time and find out why A, B, C, D is like that.
Okay, and we want to lastly put out your emergency numbers out there, because it's very necessary. Sometimes
Yes,
call and
people-
say,
People call and
People,
pull funds.
yes. So if I may ask, assuming there's fire here, which number would you call now?
Well,
Yes, my sister. Which number?
I'm not
Oh,
sure.
call something.
Call something.
Yes, maybe you know, people say they've called the fire service on several locations. No, don't check from your phone.
I would, what is in my head is not what I'm going to
Yes,
mention
I'm
at
not
all.
sure. I don't
It's
think
the
I know
movie
the right
thing.
one.
We should do away with it. I remember
But-
I was being corrected.
what?
That one, there was a number that was giving like with the fire service thing. Yeah, and I
For
tried.
movies?
No, you know, yes, even with movies and all
Oh,
that.
so that's the
So
number.
that was in the minds of Ghanaians. But
So which number is that?
no, please, we want you to
We
give
want
us.
you
No.
to educate
Maybe
us
come up
this
with that one,
morning.
and then
No, we will
we'll
not talk about it. We want you to
We
give
want
us
you
the
to
right
educate
So you
us
see, this
this
is the
morning.
challenge. Most of the people do not even know
No,
our
they
numbers.
don't.
Yeah.
Yet they tell you they've called us
Called
on
and
several
nobody was
locations.
picking.
I'm at the Greater Estate here, just a stone's throw from here. So it happened to me. You know, I normally buy my pork at the Mana Mission Junction.
Okay.
There was a time I was coming, and I'm a very nocturnal human being. I work very late. Yes, so I was coming from Osu, and then I got to the Mana Junction around 12. And then it was late. It was quite late. But when I got there, I think 12 getting to 1 thereabouts. And when I got there, I realized a building there was on fire. So I pulled over. And you know, they are all my friends.
Yeah.
So I pulled over, and then they called me, hey, fire, you will call your people on
Fire.
several locations. You know, every fire officer is called fire when you are living in it. Exactly. So when I came down, they said they've called our people on several locations. Hey, you people, when we call you, I said, who called? Kwame now said this Kwame. Kwame said this Yao. Yao said this Adra Mansa. Adra Mansa said Kofi. Kofi said Kweku. Kweku said, yes, I called. Kweku, which number did you call? I said, I called Shobiz TV. I said, but if you call Shobiz TV, you've not called fire service.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what you also do is you don't call the fire service. You also put it on air. If the firemen are listening to us, information reaching us is that there's fire at so and so place. How many television stations do we have in Ghana? How many radio stations do we have in Ghana? So what makes you think at a particular time, those listening to fire service, those watching or listening to any radio are tuned into a particular station? There are countless of occasions I have heard those things when I'm driving or when I'm sleeping, lying down, listening to radio or television, and I have to call the fire master control to inform them
This is what's happening.
that this is what is happening. And there are times they've not even heard of it.
Interesting.
So the numbers, they don't know our numbers. So if you want to get to the fire service, it is 192. If you want to get to the fire service, it is what? 192. That is the Ghana 112. That is if you are calling the general emergency line. It is 112. That is for Ghana National Fire Service, the police service, and then the ambulance service.
Right.
Yeah, so you can use these two numbers, and then you definitely get us.
All right, so
JK.
interesting. So now we have it is 192 and 112, the general emergency
It's
number, if you wanna
112
call
and
it.
192 is for the Ghana National Fire
Service.
Service.
Interesting. Thank you so much, Michael Walter Okai. He's the station officer 14, the public relations department of the Ghana National Fire Service, and you know he's been able to give us all the information we need to know
Yes.
with regards to outbreak, and we really appreciate your presence.
We really
this
do.
morning.
In fact, the
really
pleasure
do.
is all
We
mine
really
to be
do.
here, and I also thank you for the platform given here.
Great.
have
Definitely, we need
learnt
to
a
have some
lot, JK.
series, you know.
Okay.
Yes,
Dedicated
we should
on
have.
what we do.
I have learnt a lot. Safety is a shared responsibility.
Yes, you have a
JK.
role to play,
Yes.
and I have a role to
Yes.
play. You would have to call me when there's fire in your house.
Yes.
If you are able to put up all the safety measures, the fires won't come to your house.
Yes.
But in case it comes, you just have to dial the fire service on time. Don't go try your hands. You call the fire services first before you try your hands on it. If we come and you've been able to douse the fires, it's a plus to you.
Yes.
You understand? But when you call us on time, we'll get there. But then I'd also encourage that there are fire stations. You know, here we have the Lekma fire station here. We should get their numbers. When you get there, or if you are in a particular neighborhood, the closest one is the one in your neighborhood. So please walk out there to the station, get the numbers. In case of anything, you can dial them on their numbers, and then they will come quickly to help.
Great. All right.
So
Thank you so much. All right. So this will wrap it up today on the show. But before we do that, we have some people celebrating their birthday, still in the month of January, and we need to wish them. So right here says, happy birthday to Corporal Jata Mabel. On your special day, we celebrate your dedication, courage, and commitment to serve